Lord have mercy on my soul. What am I looking for? I'm trying to find this review. Hold on. This is why God created search bars. Bam! Coming at ya. All right, that was a chaotic beginning. I'm keeping some of that in there too. I got my yogurt because I'm hungry, 13 grams of protein, and I need to get through 2 hours of recording. Hi, my name is Alana. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And on this channel, we predominantly review books. Coming at ya in this video with two smaller reviews. So I'm going to pack 2 books into this video, but before I do that, I'm going to cover the books that I would like to read between September and October. Some of them are not sure which month they're going to fall in, but just going to see how it goes, because in September there is a 3-day weekend for, at least in the United States, for Labor Day, so I can get a lot of reading done in that weekend. But also I have 2 weekends back to back where I will have a lot of time just sitting because I'm in transit, so either in a car or on a train. So, and there's going to be nothing else to do but read. So I have a lot of time to do more reading in September. I feel like this is crooked, but you know what? I've been fiddling with this tripod for the past 10 minutes and I'm sick of it. You get what you get. So let's go over my September, October TBR. I've actually already started this. This is my current bedtime read, A View of the Harbor by Elizabeth Taylor. I don't have an opinion on it because I'm only about 13 pages in. Elizabeth Taylor is not an author I hear too many people talk about. She was a mid-century English author. I'm pretty sure she also published, did she publish through the 70s? Don't know, but a lot of domestic English fiction, if that's your jam. The next 2 books, one of which I'm actually going to be able to start right at the end of August and go into September. These 2 books are on my priority to knock out early in September, late August, because these were sent to me by the publishers for review. So Everybody Here is Kin, which I don't exactly know how to describe yet because I haven't read it. I mean, yes, there's the synopsis, but there's a seaside theme here. Everybody Here is Kin, as you can see with the cover and A View of the Harbor. It's an island community, but it's mainly focusing on this young teenage girl whose family it's got its issues, and you know I like familial drama. This was also sent to me from a different publisher, The Heart of It All. The reason why I selected this book in particular, in a nutshell, it takes place in Ohio. And it's basically, from what I can gather from just the synopsis and a couple of reviews that were released early, or that have been posted early, this is published, it's going to be published September 12th. Everybody Here is Kin, September 19th. It's basically looking at America's current cultural, political, and societal landscape, but in a very nuanced way. So from what I've gathered, there are a lot of characters in this book that have varying viewpoints and focusing on what connects people as humans rather than our differences. And so I like those kind of nuanced discussions, and it's something that I've critiqued a lot of contemporary novels about that go into cultural, political, and societal climates of the current day, but with very little nuance. And so it almost looks like they're, us versus them versus, let's look at it as a whole, right? So I complained about Duck's Newburyport because it was so narrow-minded in my opinion. And also this takes place in Ohio, so it's like I think this book is going to scratch the itch, because I've been but you don't see many books that are currently releases that are nuanced. Everybody wants to be politically correct to their detriment. Definitely a September read. We'll be starting this probably on September 1st. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, because watch it. We're heading into autumn, baby. I'm ready for the dark vibes. This one, Amor Tolls, Rules of Civility. Enough said. I love I loved A Gentleman in Moscow. Let's do this one first. A Thirst for Salt. I'm going to try to sneak it in September. We shall see. And if not, some of these will roll over to October. This one might get benched maybe until next year. We'll see if I can squeeze it in. I can squeeze it in. And Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. We'll see. It's been in a TBR stack probably for the past couple of months, so I'm going to try to knock that out. And then after I finish A View of the Harbor, since it's not a very long book, Kate Morton's The Distant Hours will be my next bedside table read. I like to pick books that aren't super dense and easy to digest for reading either early in the morning when I wake up or when I'm about to fall asleep, just because they're just not as taxing on the brain. I read a Kate Morton novel back in 2020 and actually enjoyed it. It wasn't bad. It was a fun read. And it kind of there's a book it reminded me of now that I can't remember. But either way, enough rambling. But that is what is pending for autumn. Actually, no, boss. I forgot 3 books. This is a reread for me. Faces in the Water. Probably will try to get to this in October. This is a reread. Janet Frame's Faces in the Water. If you liked Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar, if you like books like Girl Interrupted, which I have not read yet, Virginia Woolf, books on female madness. This is a semi-autobiographical novel. Janet Frame was misdiagnosed with schizophrenia and was institutionalized a lot. And her finally a doctor, because they were gonna perform a lobotomy on her, and a doctor was like, whoa, this lady, first, don't do that, and she's not schizophrenic. And so if she had been lobotomized, we wouldn't have this fantastic fiction. This book is phenomenal. It is. I read it in 2020, 5-star. I can't wait to reread it. Like, this woman can turn a phrase. I will be rereading My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I know I read this last year, but when I read and finished Play It As It Lays by Joan Didion a couple months ago, there was something about that book that made me want to revisit this book. So we're going to do that. And then my main October read, finally wrapping up the Wolf Hall trilogy. So The Mirror and the Light. Look at this beast. So yeah, I don't think this might take me the whole month to get through, but I figured that this would be perfect for October. All right, so first up for this mini review, if you will, is Frost in May by Antonia White. I finished this book quite a while ago, but when I do these mini reviews, I like to wait till at least I have 2 to do, and I can combine them into one video. So Frost in May by Antonia White is about this young girl named Nanda, I guess that would just depend on your dialect, how you want to pronounce that A. So I would probably say Nanda. Nanda is 9 when her parents send her to a Catholic, I don't have to hold books anymore, what am I doing? To a Catholic convent school, as her family has recently converted to Catholicism. So as you can imagine, this school is very strict, and Nanda is really clever and witty and inquisitive. And so when she enters into this new convent school, she has to temper a lot of that, and she struggles with that a lot. But she's also a people pleaser. She also has a very strong relationship with her father, and she wants to do her best to please her father and the nuns and win favor from the other girls at the school. However, by the age of 13, something happens that Nanda does that is against school rules, and she is dismissed from the school. So this book is chronicling those years between the ages of her being 9 and 13 and the struggles that she has at this convent school and what it leads up to her being dismissed. I was eager to knock this book off my physical TBR because it's part of the Virgo Modern Classics 40th Anniversary Collection, which is, back here. They won an award for this collection off the cover designs. And so, again, one thing I like about having my books all displayed now in one room, minus one bookshelf in the living room, is because I get to shop. I've been shopping my own books, and I have barely purchased any books over recent months and haven't even missed not buying books. So I'm been eager to knock off some of these books off my physical TBR. I've had this book on my shelf since 2020. So this book, unfortunately, was boring for me. I like a good strict school story like Jane Eyre or Abigail by Magda Szabo, which is a Hungarian author that I reviewed several videos back, because there is just something about these claustrophobic narratives of young girls at these boarding schools. They're dark, they're cold, as in the environment is often dark and cold, and there's all these school politics and dynamics that just creates almost a really cozy story. But this one didn't deliver for me in the way that Jane Eyre delivers or Abigail delivered for me. Nothing really happens. Yes, it's a short novel. It's very short. I don't even know if it's 200 pages. And there is a lot of the day-to-day mundane life at this boarding school, which I typically like. I like stories about the minutia of people's routines. But this book was boring. And at the very end, this deed that kicked her out, when this happens, it was so disappointingly boring. I was like, that's it? We built up for that? Because the synopsis of the book on the page flap at the beginning, you know she's going to get kicked out of school. It's not a spoiler. So you're like, ooh, what is it? Ooh, it's probably going to be spicy. It was so boring. I was so disappointed. And I wanted a little bit more spice, a little bit more salt and pepper, but I just didn't get that, and I was just bored for the majority of it. There were some funny bits. Nanda says some things every now and then that are pretty clever, but I wasn't really invested other than that. There is also a lot of technical Catholicism in this book. I kid you not. There is a chapter that pretty much dictates Nanda's mass/prayer notes, and I felt my eyes glazing over. It was like reading a sermon, and it was so boring and unnecessary that I actually skipped it. I am not Catholic, but I don't think that being Catholic would have made that less boring. It was just like reading somebody's school notes. You know what I mean? Somebody's study notes, and you're just like, stop. It was just that section could have been taken out. It was taking up valuable real estate in the book, and I think it could have been edited out. Maybe put one or two little paragraphs about some of her notes, but I didn't need pages of it. But again, this book does have its moments. There are a few times where I chuckled here or there. There are times when you get infuriated for this main young female character because she is new to Catholicism. She has to make a lot of changes. She has to kind of adjust her behavior to fit the strictness of this school. And so you feel I did feel some compassion for her because you wanted people to be more compassionate to her. Some of these nuns were just, I get it, it's a convent, but you're just like, she's 9. she's 9 to 13. And some of the condescension that she deals with, that she puts up with for her age, is impressive to me. But again, I was bored. I didn't dislike this story. I just felt it was lackluster. That being said, it is a very well written story. And I think that there is an audience for this book. Again, if you like that strict religious or boarding school environment, this may be for you. It's not long. It won't take you long to read. It's a very fast read. It's not dense. It could be placed in that comforting reading category. So if this somehow still piques your interest, I think that it might be worth the read. I did rate it a 3 out of 5. I'm going to keep it on my shelf because I want to keep the collection whole. And I think the cover is stunning, but it just didn't wow me. I was just like, meh, okay, I checked this off my physical TBR, moving on. It was very forgettable for me. Now, a book that was not boring for me was, or is, The Light Years by Elizabeth Jane Howard, which is the first volume of the Cazalet Chronicles. I Betty read this with a friend. I actually started this book at the end of 2022 and finished it early 2023. And my friend and I, she just lives in the next city over from me, so the time when we buddy read, it can still sometimes be months before we're able to actually, our schedules match up and we're able to meet in person to discuss this book. So we didn't discuss this book together until May. And I don't post my review until I've talked to her and we've kind of come to a consensus. So this book was a treat to read, and I'm excited to read the remaining 5 novels in this book. The Light Years is the first installment of this 5-volume collection focusing on the Cazalet family. It's a large family with 3 married brothers and an unmarried sister. Every summer, this whole family, including the grandparents, wives, grandchildren, they return to their family's home in Sussex, in the countryside. And so the Light Years starts in 1937. So the world is on the brink of World War II. Despite the looming tensions of World War II, this book is taking place where they're still not quite sure if war is going to happen or not. There's still this hope that World War II can be averted. They're still wrapped up in the everyday drama of normal domestic English life during this time period. So, for example, Edward, the handsomest brother, is predictably unfaithful to his wife because women just gravitate towards him and he takes advantage of it. The children are going to do what the children are going to do. They're just playing games, playing tag, being in petty fights. I'm going to get into the children, hysterical. You have one of the other brothers who he's engaged to a woman that's quite a bit younger than him, and she is quite frivolous in a lot of ways, but he's an artist, and so you see this tension between the two, especially this young 20-something-year-old wife who is just maybe hasn't figured herself out yet. And then we have Rachel, the sister, who is in a forbidden relationship, especially one that's forbidden or considered taboo in the 1930s. So there isn't a lot to dive into and analyze with this novel, which is its charm. It is pure English domestic fiction bliss. And that is actually a type of fiction that I really enjoy. It's very English. The humor is dry, and it is to die for. I was LOLing while I was reading this book. All of my annotations and tabs, almost all of them, are me writing in the margins, laugh out loud, because it's that funny. The children in particular are hysterical. Just whole conversations that will make you laugh between these children. I would describe Elizabeth Jane Howard is really, really good at dialogue. It kind of feels like a ping pong match. Just the banter is excellent. And this is a thick novel. It's over 500 pages, but in this particular edition, the font is not tiny, and so it's also a quick read. There's nothing overwhelming about this novel. This checks the cozy box, and there are some challenging topics that are introduced in this novel, and I know that can be continued to be developed as the series continues, but somehow it's one of those books where the author has found that balance between tackling difficult topics while still making the book feel comforting, which is, I would assume, very difficult to do. Another thing about this book is that it was published in 1990, and I was surprised at first because it feels vintage. It feels like something that Persephone Books would publish. Elizabeth Howard perfected the tone of this time period because it feels like it was written. It feels like it was a contemporary. It could be a contemporary of when the Dorothy Whipple was writing, pre and then post World War II. me and my friend enjoyed this. We're looking forward to eventually continuing the series to see how events unfold. This novel ends in 1938, so there is a lot of World War II timeline to cover. And I will be curious to see what these characters go through, because we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg with what I think may happen with some of these characters. Both my friend and I rated this a 4 out of 5. And yeah, it was enjoyable. So that is what this hodgepodge of a video covered. My autumn reads coming up. 2 short book reviews. Please let me know if you've read any of the books that I plan to be reading over September and October. Have you read Frost in May? Have you read The Light Years? Let me know your thoughts below. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave me a comment. And also, if you would like, feel free to follow me on Instagram, where I get up to more bookish shenanigans. I post all of my book reviews on Instagram first, along with my monthly TBRs, my monthly reading wrap-ups, and funny memes in the Instagram stories. So that is also linked down below. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.